Egg Wyvern, Part 1. Following the scene in the hospital, the group once again headed for Sugarcube Corner to regroup. Thankfully, not having to deal with any curious foes on the way there this time. When they got there, they found Mayor and the Cakes on the front step, the tan earth pony evidently having been looking for the group. Mr. and Mrs. Cake ushered everyone inside, both of them and Pinkie Pie going into the kitchen afterwards. The shining armor and the princesses taking Mayor to the back, where they earlier to talk, while the rest of them spread out around the shop. Soren quickly trying over to one of the display cases to get a good look at the pies, and the QMR Crusaders going off near the side of it so Apple Bloomsley, Belle, and Scaloo could talk to Babs. Currently, Tails, Blaze, Twilight, Rainbow Dash, Rarity, and Spike were clustered around the main six's favorite table. Atop it, in the center, sat the 6 elements of harmony and the 6 Chaos Emeralds that had been recovered so far. Tails was checking on something on his radar, while both Rarity and Spike eyed the Chaos Emeralds for their own reasons. And they're both utterly stupid. The ponies at the back looked over as Twilight said, "So, with the element of magic restored, we finally reunited the elements of harmony once again." Without looking for his radar, Tails nodded. "Yep, according to my analysis, it doesn't look like either the element of magic or the red Chaos Emerald suffered any negative effects due to be turned to stone. I think you can safely say that, barring any outside influences, the elements of harmony will work perfectly when they're needed." Spike began to discreetly search for the Chaos Emeralds as Rainbow Dash asked, "What do you mean by outside influences, Tails? We got the elements of harmony, and we're all together. Why wouldn't they work?" Tails looked up and said, "I'm not saying they won't, Rainbow. Just being open-minded here." Rainbow raised an eyebrow out of confusion. Blaze spoke. "Don't get upset by what Tails is saying, Rainbow Dash. It never hurts to think about a situation realistically. He's just saying that there's a chance that..." She stopped short upon nosing Spike reaching for the green Chaos Emerald, and the look on his face, and used her left hand to push the gems away before finishing. And Twilight appropriately whacked his nose with a rolled-up newspaper. "Sorry, Spike, but if you're going to act more animalistically, you're going to get treated like a dog." Something could come up that you're not expecting. She then glanced at Spike out of the corner of her eyes, the baby dragon giving her a sheepish look. Rainbow said, "Okay, I'll agree with that. But still, we got all the elements of harmony. We can take down that thing that messes with our worlds now." Rarity looked up at her. "That's true, Rainbow Dash. But I can't help but feel we're not quite prepared yet." Marine piped up from behind Blaze. "Oi, she's right, mate. You'll have to put in a short level trouser." Tails nodded. "Right, we're still missing a Chaos Emerald. We should be fully prepared before we try to find that creature." Twilight looked down and asked, "How long will it take to locate the next Chaos Emerald?" Tails looked down at his radar and started moving things around on the touchscreen while saying, "The Chaos Emeralds are like magnets. They have the power to attract each other. I'm trying to use the energy signatures of the one we have to hone in on the last one. So it'd take too long to find it." Derpy flew over and asked, "You're looking for something? Anything I can do to help?" Iridas quickly turned to her and said, "No, that's fine, Derpy. We can handle it." She wrapped her right foreleg around Derpy and grabbed the stool of her left hoof, flying over to the other side of the shop with both in tow. She stopped in front of the window, across her silver SBL Factor Spitfire and the QMR Crusaders, next to Charmy and Sonic, who was leaning against the wall, and let go of the stool, and Derpy. "Tails knows what to do for this kind of thing, so you just sit over here and let him work, okay?" The Rainbow Main Pegasus asked. Derpy nodded after a moment and plopped down on the stool, while Rainbow Dash flew over to the table. Shortly after she sat down, however, Derpy's stool suddenly leaned back towards the window, and the green mare fell backwards. As she fell, she reached her forelegs out and wrapped them around Charmy's waist, the bumblebee grabbing Sonic's arm with his left hand as he was pulling along with her. "Whoa!" Sonic exclaimed as Derpy pushed the window open and they all fell out, raising a cloud of dust as they landed. "Oops, my bad," Derpy said. Silver ran over to the window and looked out. "Ugh, you guys alright?" Sonic sat up for a moment later and said, "Yeah, we're fine." And he looked over at Charmy and Derpy before adding, "Well, most of us are." Before Silver could ask, Charmy sat up, his helmet having somehow been twisted over when he fell to cover his eyes, and asked, "We'll put the lights out." Sonic reached over, placing a hand on the bee's helmet, turning around to the right position. He said happily. Sonic resisted the urge to roll his eyes. Silver looked back at the blue hedgehog and asked, "What about Derpy?" They both looked over at the gray Pegasus, but she simply sat up and smiled, her eyes still going in different directions. The two hedgehogs looked at each other and shrugged before Sonic stood up and climbed through the window, Charmy and Derpy following behind them. After Silver closed the window, Pinky came bouncing out of the kitchen, with a tray balanced on top of her head. She came near to a stop in front of Sarah and spoke, "Hey guys, Mr. and Mrs. Cake just went to a fresh batch of muffins. Anybody want some?" Derpy's eyes focused for a second. She smiled. "Muffins?" She spread her wings and flew over to Pinky, her eyes returning to Derpy normal as he did. Sonic walked over to the table where Pinky was bouncing up and around the shop. Derpy desperately reaching to grab one of the muffins as she moved. The mayor came down from the back and walked over to Sonic, saying, "Oh, that Derpy and her muffins." Sonic commented, "Seems like she makes things interesting around here." While watching Derpy successfully get her hose on the muffin tray, Pinky congratulated her. Mayor nodded. "Yes, whoever's coming here to Sugarcube Corner to sample a new treat or doing a job. She certainly keeps Ponyville lively." So he turned to Sonic and said, "The princesses in shining armor does explain things to me. Are you, Twilight, and the others going to set things right now, Sonic?" Sonic turned to the Tan Man and replied, "Not just yet. I'm not saying anything about the power of the elements of harmony, since I've never seen them in action before. But it can't hurt to be fully prepared before we go after that creature. But I promise you, Mayor, it won't be long before Ponyville's back to normal." Mayor sighed. "All right, I understand. Just please try to hurry if you can. Ever since that monster appeared over Ponyville, everybody's been quite worried about it coming back, especially now when the repairs for the Chainsley attack are almost complete." Espio spoke up from the other side of the room. "I can understand their worry. With that creature appearing near the hospital, there's no telling what it'll do next." He went to the Professor and asked, "Any thoughts, Sector?" Fedor replied, "Your guess is as good as mine, Espio. To be honest, I'm wondering what happened to the jet plug and his crew. We haven't seen them since we got back. They better not be up to something." Sonic shrugged. "Anything world domination related and beyond never seemed like Jet's cup of tea, Fector. But you're right. Even with Wave being angry, it's kind of weird the Babylon Rogues took off on something like that." Spitfire spoke. "I don't like it either. Those birds may have been willing to work with us earlier, but now we don't even know where they are. Their leader especially seems to like to kind of do something for his own gain. Those birds don't belong in the sky. They're kind of messes up for the rest of us flyers." Maybe that's not at her. "No argument there, Spitfire, ma'am. Those guys definitely seem like the crooked type. You think we should be worried about fighting them?" Spitfire replied, "I'd like you guys to know what they're planning. But all of us looking for them is a good use of anybody's time. You guys should be focusing on finding this missing Chaos Emerald and stopping that monster." Sora looked up for the split case and asked, "So, does that mean the two of us are going to be keeping an eye out for him, Spitfire?" The captain turned to him and said, "I was thinking of something along those lines, Ford. Yes. Why are you craving another pie?" Sora smiled at her but replied, "No, I think I'm good, Spitfire. For now, anyway." "Oh, he's craving some pony's pie, all right." "I'm getting ready to go back to work." Spitfire nodded at that, before looking back at the hotel, winking at Soren, then back at the hotel. Soren quietly nodding. A moment later, a baby sound came from the table and everyone turned to look. The Cakes even poked their head out of the kitchen. "Getting signal! It's coming from the Chaos Emerald!" Tails said. Piggy suddenly popped up on his left side between the table and the display case and smiled. "Oh, a ring? That was super quick." Despite being surprised by the pink pony's sudden appearance, Tails began sliding his fingers around the touchscreen of his radar, trying to get a fix on the signal's location as the Cakes returned to the kitchen, now knowing there was nothing wrong. Twilight asked him after a moment, "Where's it coming from?" Tails took his fingers off the radar a second later and turned it towards her to let her see. Rarity, Spike, Rainbow Dash, and Pinkie Pie looking over to look as well. While they were all looking, Applejack walked over to the table and spoke up, getting everyone's attention. "Just a sec, y'all. I know we gotta get moving and all, but before we go roasting off, I'd like to take Apple Blue and friends back to Sweet Apple Lakers. Blink Macintosh and Brave Bird so it knows that they're not in their clubhouse on the farm by now. They're probably worried sick." First, I walked up beside her and Beaker said, I could do that for you, Applejack. In fact, you girls, Spike and Sonic and Tails, could go on without me. Oh, for Pete's sake. Oy. No, I get it. Here, let me do this. Here's my tail, raised up. I'm meek and timid. Oh, woe is me. Come and ram it up my dust. I don't care anymore. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Flares. Me too. Everyone else gets a cool moment in this fic. I only got one. Yeah, I'm not reading the rest of my dialogue either, because I'm just reminding Fluttershy something she knew already. But what about the girls? Applejack wants to take them back to Sleep Apple Acres. Who's going to do that? Blaze spoke. If I may be allowed to do so, I will. We are all starting to get a bit too crowded to be able to move very fast, and I would rather not slow anyone down if possible. I am also concerned about that creature. It could appear at any time. Across from her, Silver said, That's true, especially after it tried to grab the Chaos Emerald and the element of magic earlier. No telling where it'll appear next. Blaze nodded. Exactly. Therefore, I believe I will stay behind to make sure the girls get back to Sweet Apple Acres safety as well. I'm keeping an eye on Ponyville.
Fender spoke up. Well, that thing does so again. You can count on the chaos to take the race easy, rolling in to help.
Espio glared at him.
I hope you're not thinking you can grease the wheels and get a little something extra for your services, Vector.
Charlie giggled as he flew up alongside him. Protecting sounds from big scary works isn't detective work, silly. While Vector began to raise at Charmy, Silver turned to Blaze and said, Well, that aside, I'll stay behind too. Shadow and his team are great, but they can't be everywhere at once. We managed to repel that thing once. If we have to, I'm sure we can do it again. Blaze nodded in agreement. Maria spoke. I thank you all for volunteering to help protect Ponyville, while the rest of you resolve this mess. You all truly do right by our fair city. Marine almost immediately piped up. Fair dinkum, Sonic and Tears always follow you, right? And Blaze too, she is a princess after all. She won't let you down, and I won't either. Babs, who'd been listening along with her Kingmaker's here, spoke up and said, Whoa, wait a minute, she's a princess? She looked up at Apple Bloom and asked, Why didn't you tell me, Apple Bloom? Young Philly nervously rubbed the side of her head with a huff as she replied, Well, Blaze doesn't really like being called a princess, Babs. I guess I thought she'd get mad if we mentioned it. Sleepbell asked, Is there a problem, Babs? Orange Brown Philly looked off to the side nervously. I don't know. Should we really be troubling somebody so important with something like keeping an eye on us? Scuba smiled. It's not like that, Babs. Blaze let us hang around earlier and even told us a little bit about her. She seems like she was cool with us. Babs' gaze sits into the ground, looking helpful. Blaze walked over and knelt to Babs. The Philly looked up at her and said, If it makes you feel better, Miss Steed, your cousin Apple Bloom is right. I do not prefer to be referred as royalty. My title does not mean much outside my home dimension as it is, and I do not enjoy the thought of making others think they have to act a certain way. Babs glanced to the side. But they still do once you know you're a princess, right? Blaze replied, Not always. I'll have you know that when I was younger, I occasionally found myself the subject of teasing. Babs looked up at her with wide eyes. You were? Blaze nodded. Indeed. I hardly say that deep down I'm really all that different from my people. While they continued conversing, Fluttershy looked at Sonic and asked, Why would anybody want to tease Blaze? He's so nice. How could he be so mean? Sonic scratched his head for a moment before shrugging. Well, I wasn't there, and I'm not going to pry into her personal business without permission, so I wouldn't know. He looked over at Twilight and asked, So, what are we doing, Twilight? The Lavender Unicorn looked back at him and replied, We're going mountain climbing.
Soon, at the path laying outside of Ponyville.
Question! Ha ha ha! That's bull crap. Grappy, you know it, Fick.
Fick, we still got a few fights left.
Sonic, Tails, Spike, Hanger on number 1, Main 6, and the other hanger was on, looked at the path in front of them. At the end of the path, beyond the farm fields along the sides, was their next destination. The mountain containing the cave where the girls had met their first full-grown dragon. So that's the spot, huh? Sonic asked. Tails glanced at his radar for a moment before looking up and saying, Yeah, definitely. Looked at Twilight and asked, Any ideas where we should live, Twilight? The Lavender Unicorn replied, Well, there's a cave at the top where a dragon was going to be taking a 100-year nap. That's about all any of us saw in the 2 times we were up there. Sonic raised a hand to his chin. Huh, so that's how long a dragon sleeps. He looked down at Spike and asked, You don't have any bad habits like that yet, do you, Spike? Spike looked down. No way! I was trained to be an assistant. I always get up early. He then blushed, remembering a few times in the past. Glanced down at the ground before adding, Well, usually anyway. Rainbow Dash snickered at his embarrassment, while Rarity said, Oh, I'm sure he never is, Sonic. Spike is a very punctual and hard-working dragon after all. It wouldn't be like a little spiky wacky to suddenly do such a thing. Spike smiled up happily at that. Rainbow Dash spoke up. Yeah, okay, that's great and all, but we gotta get going. The sooner we get that last Chaos Emerald, the sooner we can defeat that monster. Everybody nodded except for Fluttershy. The pink maned Pegasus looking a bit nervous at the idea of going back to that mountain again. And seeming to lay down and raising her hiney in the air while continuing to raise up her tail. I've been taking it out the rear so many times in this fic. Applejack noticed and walked over to her, placing a hoof reassuringly at her side. Oh, for Blake's sake, do I really have to say this? No, Applejack, you do not. Neither you, Luna. I mean, come on! Really? Fluttershy knows that there's not a dragon in here. I get it. You wanted to continue to make Fluttershy and Meek and help us. I get that. You want to continue to have Fluttershy be soft and timid. I get that. But there's a difference between being soft and timid and being an idiot. You have reached idiocy level. You have reached Mikan level of stupid. As they were walking around the somewhat outlined path, Tails raised a question. Applejack, you said there's something about loose rocks. Is there any chance we'll see any on the way up? The Orange Pony looked over at him and replied, I'll doubt it. Unless we all start yelling about something other than that, I'm sure we'll hold to deal with something like that last time we hit the mountain. Celestia spoke. Yes, I remember receiving your friendship report for that one. That lesson on understanding another's problems and working to sort them out while working through the situation at hand was a very nice one indeed. And I know the pony farmers and the rest of Ponyville must have been relieved they don't have to worry about any more rocks suddenly coming down on top of them. Rainbow Dash nodded. Yeah, especially since some of the farmers who lived around here saw it coming. They usually try to send word about that kind of thing. Guess even they weren't expecting those rock slides to happen. Tails scratched the side of his head. So you're saying a bunch of rocks in the mountain just suddenly came loose and started coming down? Rainbow waved a wing dismissively. Yeah, that's all it was. No biggie. Shining Armor looked over at the farm field as they walked by. Well, looks like those rocks are being put to good use. Sonic looked at the entire field and cried, yeah, if I didn't know any better, I might have guessed the ponies out here farmed rocks instead of, well, crops. Piggy suddenly popped up next to his head. My Papa and Mama own a rock farm. I used to work with them and my sisters when I was an itty little piggy, especially before I got my king rank. I was surprised when I heard that Papa let Trixie work on the farm before she came back to Ponyville. She was lucky he let her. Papa used to be so strict about who he let work on the farm. He could be a real strict sometimes, especially... While Piggy went on, Sonic glanced at the ears and asked, a rock farm? How does that work? Rainbow quickly said, don't ask her. Trust me, that's a bad idea. I should know. She shook her head, remembering the costumes Pinky magically had on hand when the girls went to the Changeling Kingdom, so they could avoid mixing each other up. She was grateful that Pinky had seemingly forgot about them this time around. Sonic shrugged. Huh, okay then. Wasn't expecting a comic book reference, but... Hey, Arthur, while we're referencing, comics, care to reference the Archie comics once in a while, please? Glanced over at Twilight and noticed she was looking at the mountain intently for some reason. Facing forward again and noticing they were getting close to the bottom of it, he wondered if Twilight was thinking the same thing he guessed Tails was. There's something about the rocks on the mountain coming loose suddenly, and without the ponies who lived near the mountain seeing any signs that something like that was going to happen, seemed unusual to say the least. It wasn't long before the group reached the base of the mountain, all of them looking up to steep cliff in front of them. Hanger-on one broke the brief silence. Twilight, is there a path leading up the side of this mountain or something like that? His sister asked after a moment. Yes, there is, Shining. We could go around the mountain or go up. We could go straight up the side of this cliff. Rainbow piped up. Let's do that. That's the fast way. And since there's no dragon this time around, Fluttershy's way should work. The side Pegasus looked back at her, still full of rings at that, slightly moving them but not extending them. Oh, I don't know, Rainbow, she murmured. Rainbow barely repressed the Earth's loud groan of exasperation at this. Don't worry, Rainbow, I will! Neil stepped up to her and offered, I can be your flying buddy, Fluttershy. You know, to make sure your wings suddenly don't lock up before we get up that ledge. Hanger-on number 4 nodded. That's very nice of you to offer, Tails. If you mind, I'll fly with you both. Fluttershy smiled. Okay, that sounds like a wonderful idea. Tails nodded in agreement. Oh, by the way, you people aren't reading this. You don't see this. But Fluttershy's dialogue in this fic has so far been every time preceded with a stutter. Every time. Every single time Fluttershy has spoken, she doesn't speak normally. She has spoken with a stutter, like, I'm sorry, but when did Fluttershy become an idiot? When did she lose the ability to speak? Thick? Rainbow said, well, come on then, let's move up this mountain already. So he flew at the side of the mountain, landing on the closest ledge above, and looking down at the rest of the group. Applejack shook her head. Typical Rainbow. The other four silently agreed with her, although they were glad the Pegasus did try to fly straight up to the top like that time with the dragon. And after Twilight had Spike climb on her back, they started up after her. Applejack, Pinkie Pie, Rarity, Twilight, and Shining started walking up the side of the mountain, while Tails, Fluttershy, Hanger-On, the other Hanger-On, and the other Hanger-On flew up above them. It took them all about a minute to get up to Rainbow. Rainbow Mayor doing her best to remain patient. Once we were all up, Rainbow looked around and asked, hey, where's Sonic? See, was answered not a second later, with a quick gust of wind at her side, as he tried to see the blue hedgehog standing there with his arms crossed. You rang? He smirked. How did you get up here? Shining asked. Sonic shrugged. I took the long way around. Seemed like a better choice. Shining shook his head, but smiled all the same. Rainbow smiled as well. Well, all right, let's get moving then! With that, everyone started up the trail leading to the top of the mountain. As they walked, Tails kept looking up curiously, eyeing the side of the mountain next to him. Luna nodded as they hugged the wall to her left and walked alongside of him and asked, do you have something on your mind, Tails? The fox looked up at her and replied, sorry, Princess Luna. I'm still looking for the spots where the rocks came down. After seeing all those rocks down there, I'm curious to figure out how the rock size were. Applejack looked back at him. Well, you should be coming up on the spot soon, Sugarcube. You can get a real look-see quick. From up ahead, Sonic called back, you better look down and watch your step before you do that, Tails. It's kind of steep here. Tails looked forward and saw Sonic leap over to Rainbow Dash, Twilight, Rarity, and Hanger-On following him. As they got a little closer, he saw Pinkie Pie jump and Fluttershy and the other Hanger-On fly over to the others. He saw there was a small break in the path with nothing but air bristling it. He, Hanger-On, the other Hanger-On, came to a stop near the break while Applejack climbed up to the others. After she landed, Applejack turned to look at Tails, and while pointing upwards with her right hoof said, up there, Tails, that's the spot. Hanger-On, and Tails all looked up to where she was pointing. Sonic, Spike, and some of the ponies looking up as well. Despite the complete whiteness of the mountain, they could see some small ledges further up along the steep surface. After a moment, Tails said, you mean the rocks fell from those ledges up there? Rainbow called, no, they slid down the mountain. You know, from up near the top. Tails squinted as he looked further up, looking for some sort of sign to compare what Rainbow Dash had said. You sure? Don't see any ledges that high up, he said a few seconds later. I don't see anything either, Luna commented. Pinkie piped up, oh, I remember now. This is the spot where the rocks were coming down. We couldn't go all the way because the rocks were rolling down across the path. But we found a hole in the mountain above those ledges. Inside were all these cracks running up and down inside. We used some of the rocks in Twilight's magic and sealed them. And then the rocks stopped coming down. She looked at her friend and asked, are you crying? Twilight glanced at her for a moment before saying, yeah, that's right. The shaking soon stopped afterwards and the rocks stopped falling. That fixed the problem. The Hanger-On looked down at Tails and asked, does that satisfy your curiosity, Tails? You know, guys, I wouldn't call Celestia, Luna, and Cadence, and Shining Armor the Hangers-On so much, but I think by now you know my opinion on having beings like Celestia and Luna walk with you. Let me put it this way. Let's say you're playing a D&D game, and the Dungeon Master has brought out his DM PC. It's a level 20 paladin with all the bells and whistles. Got a Holy Avenger, has superior armor, has all the best stats, and somehow he's level 20 in everything. and you're ready to face off against a very tough opponent. This is where your characters are ready to roll out. You're ready to grow. After everything you've worked so hard, you're ready for a fight, and the paladin kills him in one shot. That's what it's like bringing Celestia and Luna with you. What did you gain from the experience? What did I, as the viewer, gain from seeing Celestia and Luna do anything? What did I, as a reader, gain from this? Nothing. The main six get no character development from this. They get no experience. They don't learn anything. Oh, they learn something. That when it comes to trouble, sit down and pray to God to help you. That's it. Nothing more. You don't get anything out of it. The fox scratched the back of his head as he replied, I guess so. Hanger-On nodded, and then spread her wings, leaping over the other side with the others. Tails and Luna shared a look before they followed her. As they continued on, Tails took one last look at the cliff face and thought, that's weird. There really were rock slides up there. It should be pretty easy to see the collapse, but that cliff face looks intact. Shaking his head, he turned and ran out to catch with the others. Not long afterwards, the group began to see dirt alongside the path. Pray tell, could somebody tell me why this studs appears to be misplaced? The hanger-on asked as they walked. Oh, that was probably because of the avalanche that happened the first time we came up here, Princess. I ended up knocking some rocks and dirt loose up ahead. Now I'm guessing some dirt fell back here too, Applesack explained. Oh, I certainly remember that avalanche. Having to climb over that big pile of dirt afterwards, Eddie shuddered. Now, you want to see how to properly integrate Celestia and Luna into both the fight scene and into the story without making them feel like hangers-on? How's reverse? Celestia and Luna do things, but they aren't the focus. Then again, the Hasbro-verse has the characters actually have character. Oh, I remember that avalanche, having to climb over that big pile of dirt afterwards too. Rainbow looked there. What's the big deal, Rarity? Wasn't it hard to climb over? Rarity glanced at her savagely. You say that because you flew over the rainbow. The rest of us had to walk over it. Before Rainbow could respond, Pinky piped up, Oh, looky! Rarity and Rainbow looked where she was pointing and saw that, around the path was cleared. As the group stopped where the path was curved, Applesack asked, What the hell? There used to be a big old pile of dirt blocking the way. We didn't clear it when we came down. What happened to it? Spike shrugged. Maybe it fell down during the rock slides? The whole mountain could have been shaking during all of that. The male hanger-on rubbed his chin with a hoof. That's possible, Spike. Rainbow said, Yeah, that's gotta be what happened. I mean, what else could cause a dirt pile to disappear? She noticed Pinky take a deep breath and turned to Sarah, saying, I wasn't looking for an answer, Pinky! While they started talking, Sonic noticed Twilight was eyeing the bend ahead with an unsettled look on her face. Curious, he looked as well, but couldn't see anything unusual from where he was standing. Without warning, he suddenly dashed down the path, going around the curve and heading for the bend. Where are you going, Sonic? Tails called out in surprise. The blue hedgehog came to a stop at the bend and turned to look at the wall. At one point, he saw something unusual. He turned towards the others and called, Hey guys, come look at this! Everyone hurried over to him, sprang out so they could all stand on the mountain path to get a look. They saw what they caught his attention. The side of the mountain wall was what appeared to be a large indentation. The inside of what seemed to curve, almost like the inside of a bowl. It did not look as smooth, however. And near the bottom and the inside were appeared to be two rows of ragged rocks. Near the top was a pair of rocks that struck out from the rest of the indentation. What is it? Hanger-On asked. Sonic shrugged. Beats me, but it sticks out well like a hole in the wall. Hanger-On looked at Twilight and asked, Do you have any idea what caused this, Twilight? The lavender unicorn shook her head. First I squeaked, maybe it was always there? I mean, maybe it wasn't, but we wouldn't have known the first time it came up here. Rainbow nudged her. Yeah, you're right, Fluttershy. It's probably been there the whole time and was buried under the dirt when that avalanche came down. She looked at Tails when the fox spoke up. You don't know about that, Rainbow. He had his radar out, was pointing at the indentation. I'm getting some odd rings here. They're faint, but they look familiar somehow, he mused. Applesack asked, What do you like, Sugarcube? Hanger-On added, Are you suggesting this is somehow recent? Tails looked up. his arm swapping to the side as he said, I don't know. I don't think this could have happened in the last day or two. But everything the way it is now, I can't even begin to guess how old the rock is when it all looks the same. Spike got to Twilight's back and asked, but it could just be nothing, right? Tails looked down and replied, well, I hope it's nothing, Spike. Looking up at the indentation again, he added, but if it is, it's a very odd nothing. Piggy giggled, I know, right? It almost looks like a face. Ugh, Mrs. Scary Rock Face is gonna get us. Knowing the party pony's fake terror, Sonic looked back at the indentation for a moment, before turning to Twilight, who was looking at it and asking, how close are we to that dragon's former home? Twilight absolutely replied, we're just about there. He continued to look up at the indentation for a few seconds, remembering when he first found it following the main six's rock slide halting adventure. Dreams Tails said the radar was picking up and brought some of her worries what could be back, but still wasn't certain what it was. Shaking her head to clear her thoughts, she turned and continued down the path, Sonic and the others doing the same. Not long afterwards, the group climbed up the natural steps at the end of the path and found themselves in front of the cave. Reddy looked at Tails and asked, Tails darling. The fox nodded as he looked down his radar. Yeah, the signal's almost topped out. He looked up. It's copying that cave. Fluttershy whimpered, do you think it's safe in there? Hanger-On said, it doesn't sound like there's anything living in there, Fluttershy. I'm sure it's fine. Applejack nodded in agreement. Pinky smiled, and if it isn't. So he jumped out of the side, came back, waving a rubber chicken in her mouth. Sonic and a few others raised their eyebrows at her. Sonic turned away a few seconds and muttered, I'm not even going to ask. He then walked towards the cave opening. Tails, Spike, Shining, the main six, and the hangers-on following him in. Inside, he found that the cave was completely empty, save for the natural rock formations. The dragon evidently returned to the mountain after he found a new place to sleep and taking his sword with him. It's not a trace of returning, not even a little coin. Oh, I was hoping that beautiful diamond was still there, Verity pouted. The others looked around near where the horde had been, searching for any sign of Chaos Emerald. Anything, Tails? Sonic asked for a moment. The fox consulted his radar again. I don't understand. The signal's completely topped out. We should be right on top of it, he said after a moment. Before anyone could say anything, the dual screens on Tails' radar started acting up. What the? He asked. What is it? Asked the hanger-on. Something's happening. Picking up an energy fluctuation, Tails said. What does that mean? Rainbow asked. Tails didn't get a chance to answer her because something suddenly slammed against the side of the mountain, shaking the cave. Everyone turned to look towards the cave opening and saw, instead of white, the creature looking in at them. He placed his left hand on the side of the mountain as it stared, shaking the cave again. First I yelped in. Can I just yelp? I'm fine. Okay, I don't need to hide behind Applejack. I'll just yelp. It's back. There. Oh no. Satisfied? Are you satisfied yet? Applejack stood protectively in front of her. Do. I'm your little doll. What's it doing up here? Spike exclaimed. It matters not. We're not waiting any longer. The time has come to put a stop to this madness. The hanger-on said. She looked at Twilight and spoke with a calm voice. Twilight sparkled. The elements of harmony, if you please. The other quickly used her magic to open up her saddlebags, reaching for the necklaces and tiara. Before she could pull any of them out, Sonic suddenly yelled, Whoa! Everyone turned to look at the back of the cave, where Sonic had been standing. Saw one of the purple horrors open behind him, lifting up his feet and pulling it towards it. Sonic! The others exclaimed. The second layer was pulled into the portal. The group looked back at the creature and saw it was floating away from the mountain. Soon opened a purple void behind itself and floated backwards, disappearing through it. Seeing that they missed their chance, Tails turned to dash towards the portal. Twilight, Dash, Spike, and Applejack hot at his heels. The others right behind him. They disappeared through the portal upon finding themselves in the hallway again. Hurried towards the open door on the other side of the room, running into him right inside. Tails and the others grunted as they came into contact with the ground, all of them taking a moment to make sure of their balance before looking around. They were standing on a plateau that had grass on it as well as some of the small green plants, crates marked with stars and tree roots extending out of the wall where the portal was. Off to the side, they could see what appeared to be a statue with a bird on top of that. Beyond that, they could see a large stone structure. The sky was overcast, filled with green clouds that hid the sun from view, but they didn't completely block out his light. Rainbow cupped her hose over her mouth and called, Sonic! Sonic, where are you? Piggy did the same time, and come out, wherever you are! Lil looked around before adding, I do not see him. Did that creature even bring him here? Elzak asked, for that matter, where is here? Tails walked over to the statue and placed his right hand on its side, and then looked up at the bird on top, examining it before saying, an eagle statue. Looking out the side, he noticed that the plateau they were on was situated over a large valley. He could barely see the ground at the bottom. He looked back at the others and said, Secret of Kingdom Valley! Twilight tilted her head. Kingdom Valley? She raised the hood to the side of her head, rubbing it earlier as she thought she remembered hearing the name when she approached Sonic's unconscious memory earlier. Then it clicked as he asked, That's near Soliana, right? Tails nodded. Yeah, this is where the old Soliana castle used to be. Hanger hat on cocked her head slightly. Used to be? The other hanger on asked, Do you mean it has been abandoned? Tails replied, yeah? You see, there was a big experiment involving some sort of prototype engine in a laboratory underneath this valley that the Duke of Soliana was involved in. Something went wrong during the experiment and a huge accident occurred. The castle and the lab were both abandoned afterwards. He was for a second and held his hand to the side of his head, uttering, Wait, did it happen or was it? Rainbow spoke, bringing the fox out of his thoughts. Hey, guys, enough of the history lesson already. We gotta find Sonic! Rainbow spoke. I agree we must find him, Rainbow. But where are we to start looking? This valley is rather large, you know. Before Rainbow could respond, a shadow slowly draped over everyone, making everything seem darkening. Ooh, spooky! Piggy exclaimed. Eep, what's happening?
Fluttershy said in an utter monotone as he was getting more and more bored.
Good question, Fluttershy. Why get all dark all of a sudden? Elzak asked. Spike turned around and his eyes widened as he noticed something coming towards him. He pointed up and said, I think that might have something to do with it. Everybody turned and looked up where he was pointing. Their eyes widened as well. Above them, not too high above the valley, was a very large, mostly red flying ship. The sun casting a shadow on the ground below. The front of it jutted out, giving it a long, pointy bow. It had appeared to be some sort of cannon mounting on its underside, and several edges pointed at the back of it. All of them emitting bright blue flames as it flew in their direction. What in equestrian is that? The hanger exclaimed. Looks like one of Eggman's battleships, the egg carrier, but it looks smaller and sleeker, Tails said. As it got closer, almost flying overhead, what appeared to be a large, mostly silver mechanical dragon, with black wings and parts of its red and yellow, suddenly flew in to appear from the other side of it, flapping his wings to stay in the air. Tell me, Robotnik roboticized dragon. As they watched, they began to hear a voice they all recognized. I'm the enemy! I will succeed! My mission, yeah, I must complete! Tails' gaze hardened as he looked up at the dragon. That voice! It's Eggman! Spike guessed. What? You mean that dragon's under his control? Twilight spoke as he continued to look up the mechanical creation. That's not a real dragon, Spike. It's one of his machines.
Oh, I beg to differ. It is a dragon. You remember the red one that you met? He's now roboticized. Thank you.
Tails' gaze turned to the egg carriers and began to pass the group further into the valley. That's it! Sonic's gotta be up there on the egg carrier, he said. Elzak looked down. How can I tell you? Tails replied, Eggman wouldn't be flying around in something like that if he didn't have something to use it on. Why we go joyriding one of his machines when he's got a big battleship like that to terrorize people? The hanger-on glanced down. Good point. Rainbow said, well, now that we know that, let's get up there and take that thing down! So he started to trot forward. I'll go on ahead. Twilight can help the rest of you get there. So he was stopped on the hanger-on while extended a wing in front of her. Rainbow Dash looked at the Lunar Princess as she spoke. Wait, something's happening. Looking back up at the egg carrier, the Cyan Mayor saw what she was talking about. Eggman's robotic dragon was hovering near the back of the egg carrier, flapping its wings to stay close. On the underside of the battleship, almost out of the group's side, a large hat slid back, revealing an opening underneath the ship. As he watched, a large number of robots, varying in color or appearance, appeared out of the egg carrier. Some of them flying off in the valley, some of them staying where they were, but beginning to move towards the group, sights locked onto them. How many robots does Eggman have on that thing? Twilight wondered aloud. She was both fascinated and worried. Fascinated getting a chance to see more of Eggman's tech. but worried about what it was going to do. "What are they doing?" Rarity asked. Tails said, "I think they're acting like anti-air defenses. I can't tell what kind of weapons they have or how fast they are. But with that many robots, it wouldn't matter because it's unlikely anything that can fly would reach the egg carrier unscathed." The hanger-on nodded. "You're right. They're acting like an airborne squad. Even if they can't stop the princesses and our Pegasus friends, they're sure to do some damage on the way up. It's a typical forced concentration strategy. When up here all searching for a place will be easier to punch through." Applejack asked, "Well, how are some of us going to get through this here rally?" So looked over the side of the plateau the group was on. "Honestly, knows about all thin air between us and the ground." Tails looked around a second before his eyes fell on the eagle statue. "I know," he said as he ran over to it. The others watched as he jumped up as he reached the statue and struck a strange glowing orb that attached to it with his tails. Almost as soon as he did, a strange path appeared next to the statue out of thin air, floating above the ground. Tails turned back to the others and pointed at the path. "These statues create wind paths. We can use them to move to the valley. Come on!" He did jump on the path and, to everyone's surprise, began to grind along it. "Wow, cool!" Pinky grinned. Spike looked excited by it. Looked up at Twilight, who was still staring at the wind path, and nudged her, saying, "Come on, Twilight! Tails can do it, so can we!" Twilight looked down and said, "You're right, Spike. We better hurry!" She lifted up onto her back and ran towards the statue, the others quickly following suit. As he neared the statue, Twilight used a quick flash of magic to whack the orb again, hoping it would keep the path from disappearing a little longer. She, Applejack, Rarity, Pinkie Pie, and Hanger-On then jumped on the path. Twilight, Hanger-On, Applejack, and Rarity grinding down on all fours, while Pinkie did it on 2 legs. Rainbow Dash, Fluttershy, and the other Hangers-On used their wings to take to the air instead, as they stayed close on the path with the ponies on it. Up ahead, Tails' brows radio clicked on it, then spoke. "Sonic, can you hear me? We're following Eggman's egg carriers through Kingdom Valley. Are you there?"